Hello everyone, this is Steven from the Even Steven channel, and today we're taking a look at what should be obvious at this point, the Smith & Wesson Response. The Response, Smith & Wesson loves to name their guns with words as opposed to numbers, and actually I kind of like it. The Shield, the Response, the Equalizer. I don't know, I kind of like it. It's marketing, but I think it's good marketing. So this is the Response, which I have trouble fitting on frame because it's so big, box is so big. The Smith & Wesson Response is a 9mm rifle that is kind of like an AR-15 but not, and we'll get into why in a little bit. Now when I approach my videos, I approach it from the angle of someone who's interested in buying the subject of the video, the item. That's how I approach my videos. If you're looking to buy a Smith & Wesson Response, this video is for you. If you just want to see someone run around and shoot it, those videos are great too. I tend not to do that. So Smith & Wesson Response. Now this gun has been shot. The box has been opened. So this is not exactly how it looks at when it comes from the factory, but you got the idea. So this little Smith & Wesson Response will come wrapped around the handguard. So it's not there on it now, but you get the idea. So we have the Smith & Wesson Response. Now we're going to look at this a little bit more in detail in just a moment, but I will say right off the bat, note it does not come with sights from the factory. Those are iron sights to put on, and they're whatever cheap AR-15 iron sights I could find, and they work okay for what I use them for. So we're just going to put this gun away from this for the second. I'm going to show that it's not loaded. We'll put it down for a moment. And we're just going to very quickly go over what's in the box. We got Smith & Wesson branded stickers, okay. The manual, I have read the manual. It's really just about loading, unloading, firing. There isn't a whole lot going on in here. The manual talks a little bit about different calibers besides 9mm. Maybe just in case in the future they decide to put out different calibers. I don't think they are, but it's in the manual. It comes with this one came with two 10-round magazines. I'm pretty sure you can get full capacity magazines. But this came with two 10-round magazines. So this comes with two. Looks like California warning information. Looks like registration stuff. Now let me move the box over a little bit. I'll put that side too. It does come with a bunch of little extras in here. That's not... Okay. So I believe this is a spacer for a full-size magazine. You can put a little spacer on the magazines to kind of fill the grip up. Which doesn't make sense to me, but okay, it's there. We have removable back straps, which is cool. We have the Flex Mag system. So I believe this is the Glock. Is it labeled? Yeah, this is the Flex Mag kit for the Glock. Currently installed is the Smith & Wesson magazines, but you can install stuff for the Glock magazines, chamber flag, cable lock, rail covers, which I haven't really opened this or used this, but they're there. Okay, Smith & Wesson is throwing in some extras. Okay, well, that all comes in the box. If that's important to you, now you know. But I like showing how the gun comes. I like showing the box. I like showing what comes in the box. But what the video is really about is the Smith & Wesson Response. I don't know, magazine there. So this is a 9mm rifle. It looks like an AR-15, but I'm not sure how many parts actually interchange in the AR-15. Maybe the buttstock. But I don't know, that might be it. I won't pretend to be an expert on that. Let's flip on my iron sights. I like that. I don't even know what brand this is. So we're going to go through the features back to front as I typically do, and we'll start with the buttstock, which I like. Actually, I like this buttstock. I'm not sure what brand this is. It says Magpul. I guess Magpul stock. Okay. Adjustable. I like it. I'm going to keep it all the way folded in just for the sake of the video, but I do like it all the way out when I'm shooting it. Yeah, the grip here. So the grip is very much styled after the M&P Smith & Wesson M&P grip. It even says M&P on it. Their pistols, it's shaped to kind of mirror that. It has the removable back straps. It has this tool. I don't think this does anything. This has a feature on the pistols, but yeah, so that's interesting. Okay. I'm not sure if that's really necessary, but it's an interesting touch, and I guess it doesn't really detract from the gun. So, okay, good. This is the magazine release. Smith & Wesson branded logo. It says the response, fire, safe. Go to this side real quick. This is the ejection port. We're going to talk about this ejection port later in the video, but yeah. Let me just take the magazine out for the sake of the video. Charging handle. It's an AR-15 style charging handle. I don't know if it interchanges directly with an AR-15 charging handle. We'll take the gun apart later. This handguard is, I guess, Magpul again. I think that's the Magpul logo. And this handguard is entirely plastic. It doesn't feel too bad. But, you know, I think the, well, honestly, it looks like the receiver is plastic. The upper is plastic. The handguard is plastic. But it doesn't really feel like a super light rifle. We got all these Magpul. I guess these aren't Magpul slots because they're kind of angled weird. I think these are the Magpul slots and those are the Magpul slots. Threaded barrel. Threaded barrel. It's probably a 16-inch barrel. Go back to this side. Bolt release. Very AR-15-ish. Safety. And a nice flat-facing trigger. Just double check this is not loaded. Which is pretty decent pull. And the safety's off. Feels like just a little bit plasticky. It's alright. It's alright. So we would call this like an AR-9. But it really isn't. This is not, well, first of all, this is not like just an AR-15 with the standard, well, first of all, it's not a straight up AR-15 low receiver. And it's not an AR-15 low receiver that's designed to take 9mm magazines. It's kind of its own thing. I don't think any of these parts really interchange with an AR-15 except maybe like the buffer tube and the stock. Like everything else appears to be Smith & Wesson's own proprietary stuff. Maybe the AR-15 grip. It looks like it has that standard AR-15 nut in there. You probably put a standard AR-15 pistol grip on here. So I'll say there, probably the grip and the buttstock, but everything else is kind of proprietary. So let's take it apart, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So these have takedown pins like an AR-15, and I'm going to pop them out. A little bit of assistance here because they're kind of tight. And upper and lower separates kind of like an AR-15. This one's not does not want to come out. Maybe I didn't pull out of the way. You saw the bolt fly backwards. Talk about that too. So it has a buffer and buffer tube. I'm not really sure if that's standard AR-15, AR-9-ish stuff. I'm not really sure. I'm not really an expert on AR-9s. So you need to put a little bit of, you need to push down on the hammer, which is a cast part. You push down on the hammer to get the buffer tube out. So this is the buffer and the buffer tube. I don't know. I've owned a bunch of AR-15s over the years. I've only owned one AR-9, and that was like a FX9, which I didn't care for, but I won't talk about it. Oh, wow. And that part just fell out. So yeah, that's another thing. This is the, I believe this part right here is the like bolt hold open mechanism. Get these stuff off the table. And that kind of sits right in here. Make sure I got it going. the right way. Now I feel like I'm, oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. That kind of sits right in there. Falls right out. But like I said, we got the safety. This might actually be an AR-15 safety. This might actually be an AR-15 like hammer and spring set. Like I said, this part here is a cast part. Bolt release, bolt hold open, bolt release. And then all this stuff right here. This is the flex mag system. If I understand correctly, you take out this screw right here, pull this out, and then slide this way, and you can put on the Glock magazine well, kind of in the reverse order. Put the Glock mag well on, put this in, screw it down. It's a little loose. Screw that down, put this piece in for the Glock one, and it should work. Although this is like loose, I don't know. This is not ideal. This is not ideal design in my opinion. So that's the lower. What about the upper? Like I said, this is using a lot of plastic, and this is not a. It's not use a gas system like a standard AR-15. I'm going to keep comparing it to a standard AR-15 because that's kind of what I know. This is a simple blowback rifle. This is the charging handle. The charging handle is also made of plastic. Does not appear to be identical to an AR-15 charging handle. An AR-15 usually has a little more space right here. You might be able to use a standard AR-15 charging handle, but you might not be able to. And this is the bolt, which definitely does not look like an AR-15 bolt. If you were to push this pin out, which I'm not going to do on camera, if you push this pin out, the firing pin comes back out this way, and these two halves of the bolt separate. And I just don't want to do it because if I take this pin out, the firing pin's going to come out. It's going to be hard to get back in place, but you can see what it does. And I think this is what Smith & Wesson is trying to use to possibly come out with other calibers. They keep this part the same and have different kind of bolt heads, for lack of a better term, here. It's marked 9mm. Like I said, this is direct blowback. We got a little pretty strong extractor there. Hammer fired, if it's not obvious. A little hammer swings up in there. And yeah, it's I guess it's kind of cool. The hammer would swing up in here. That's a little cutout. That's cool. And again, there's no like locking system, so this just goes straight in. Sometimes with a regular AR-15, you got to make sure that the bolt's a certain way. No, you just slide this in. And assuming this is in the right spot, you kind of just, like an AR-15, kind of slap it together. And there we go. So I'll say for the most part, I do like the Smith & Wesson response. There's just one blaring issue I have with it that I don't think I've seen anywhere else, and we'll talk about why in a second. I don't know what to put here, so overall, I'll say I do like the layout of the gun. There's a lot of plastic, despite the fact the gun just feels really heavy. Like this feels like a 7-8 pound gun. This is not, with all this plastic, you think it'd be light. It's not. The barrel. Maybe the barrel's a little thicker than it needs to be. No, not really. I don't know where all the weight goes, but it just feels like a heavier gun. Maybe it is like a 6 or 7 pound gun, but it feels like a 7 or 8 pound gun. So I like the layout. I like the grip. I like the stock. The magazine changes are pretty good. It locks open when it's empty. Like this should be like a great gun. I think it's reasonably accurate, although I don't have any target to show right now. It seems reliable. I've shot it not too much, and I'll tell you why. I've shot it not too much, but it seems like it always works. Like this should be a rave review from me. And so far, I think I've been pretty positive about it. But there's one problem with this gun that I have that I haven't seen anyone else mention. If you look at this bolt, you'll see that the bolt's actually kind of cut on like an angle here. not sure how well it's showing. Like yeah, it's not straight. It's just a little bit cut back like that. And you'll see there's no brass deflector. There's no, what is it, forward assist. There's nothing right here. So when I shoot this gun, personally when I shoot this gun, I get gas directly into my eyes. Directly into my eyes. And I don't know what it is about this gun. I don't know if maybe the bolt's moving too fast, or just the, like I said, the cut here, it's going straight back into my face, into my eyes. And I don't know if it's the way I'm holding it. I'm trying to move my head a little bit and get away from it, but it's going right into my eyes, and it's extremely unpleasant. It's very unpleasant to shoot this gun for me. Now I haven't like given it to another person. Hey, can you try this out? I haven't really like given it to someone else to shoot, but just me personally, I find this gun extremely unpleasant to shoot, to the point I don't want to shoot this gun. Like the gas is going directly into my eye. Now I don't know if it's just a matter of the way the gas is coming out, like the way that there is nothing here to block the gas, and the positioning of my face, it goes straight back into my eyes. I don't know if the bolts may be moving too quickly. You know, this is a straight blowback gun, so it's relying on the weight of the bolt and the strength of the spring to keep it safe, and maybe the bolt's moving just too fast. But I find this extremely unpleasant to shoot for me personally. Yeah, and that's really kind of all I have to say about this gun. It's kind of cool they embedded that into the plastic. Here's the serial number if you care. And that's really all I have to say about it. I think it is just anecdotally, just shooting it casually, it seemed reliable, it seemed accurate, but I've almost never had a gun do this to me where I'm just getting gas straight into my eyes. Like it's going past my protection, my sight protection. It's going like around my sight protection, maybe like, and it's just going right into my eyes. Now, maybe you, personally, pick up this same gun, and you have no idea what I'm talking about. Steven, you're crazy. This gun's fine. I don't know. But personally, I can't recommend this gun because in my experiences, it's just very unfun to shoot. And this is a recreational gun, in my opinion. And if a recreational gun is not fun to shoot, then don't. So I would like to see what other people on the Smith & Wesson response say, because this is an issue that I really haven't heard anywhere else. And maybe it's just me personally with my height and my face and my positioning and the glasses that I'm wearing, that they all come together and make a truly unpleasant experience for me. I don't know. But that is my opinion. This is going to be Steven from the Even Steven channel. Please do a like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave in the comments, and I will see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.